This is the Defenders on TV Podcast Industries. You're back with the 5th episode of Spider-Noir, Betrayal.
And that was it? After that you were...
Yes. It took some time at first just to relearn how to be more human again. Believe it or not, I went to the movies. I watched the actors. I studied the way they spoke, the way they moved. The arachnid genes are still in me. The tics, and the thoughts, impulses. But I managed to suppress them most of the time.
Welcome back, fellow Defenders, to our Spider-Noir podcast on TV Podcast Industries. I am one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow Defenders. I am one of your other hosts, John. Naughty cat. Damn. Bad girl.
Is that our podcast, Charlie, or Cat Hardy?
Yeah. It is Cat Hardy, not our podcast. Although our podcast can equally be annoying if we haven't been thorough enough to make sure he's not in the room at the time of recording.
But I presume he wouldn't reveal our secret identity to some randomer.
Well, he might do to the ginger cat across the road.
He might. But
he does like a good old sniff on that one.
As you've probably gotten so far, this is going to be a spoiler-filled podcast on episode 5 of Spider-Noir. I hope you've watched all the episodes so far and joined us after you've watched the episodes, because I think we've ruined the end of this episode.
Well, spoiler filled all the way, fellow Defenders.
Exactly.
Tune out now if you don't want to be spoiled.
Yes, and the other thing is there's only the two of us for this podcast, myself and John. We're missing Chris from our Spider retrospective.
I know, and he's the Spider-Man fan.
He is.
Such a lightweight.
But I was about to say happy birthday, Chris.
Yeah, happy birthday as well, Chris. Yes,
this is Chris's birthday podcast, where he isn't here. He gets a night off because it's his birthday.
He gets a night off every night. We're doing Spider-Noir because he hasn't been on one yet.
I know,
he's a Spider fan. But happy birthday, Chris. Indeed.
And he's been loving it. I know we've been talking to him on text. He's really been enjoying what has been delivered here from Nicolas Cage and from the showrunners for the show. So
he's still moving house, isn't he?
He is. Well,
still moving house.
I was going to say
the longest house removal ever.
Well, the worst part about it was he thought he was going to move in a couple of weeks ago, packed up all of his stuff, including his microphone, and put it into storage. For the transfer to the new house, and then contacted us and went, I don't have a microphone. Can I join you guys by phone?
He's moving in since March, I think.
Wow. I know. God, building is terrible at the moment, isn't it?
Builders.
I love builders.
We love you. But also, this one sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, not been fun at all. So hopefully, as a birthday present for Chris, hopefully he gets to move into his new house very soon and gets to plug back in his podcasting microphone. So we hopefully will get him in time for Spider-Man Brand New Day, because I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to join us for our wrap-up of The Boys or a wrap-up of Daredevil Born Again. I think we're going to have to do those on our own, John.
Yeah, we do have quite a lot to do, actually.
We do.
When I think about it. But so I think, without further ado, let us get into our spoiler-filled discussion of Spider-Noir Episode 5, Betrayal.
That really did sound like a black out of there. Spider-Noir. Spider-Noir, yes. Yes, this show, of course, is part of our TV Podcast Industries podcast. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you can pop on over to tvpodcastindustries.com and subscribe to our podcast, where you'll get access to every show that we've done. We're almost at 1,000 episodes of the podcast.
I know.
Tons and tons of shows that we've covered over the years. And we want to hear your thoughts, as we always do, by email. You can email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, or join us in our Facebook group at facebook.com/TV Podcast Industries, or over in our Discord, details of which are in the show notes right here.
Yes, absolutely. I also remember I still need to do a proposed meetup for our fellow defenders as well. And fellow industrialists and anyone that listens to the podcast.
Yes you do.
Because we are coming up to 1,000 episodes. And at some point, I think it would be quite nice that we all kind of at least try to meet up at some point.
A virtually get together would be great.
It's all virtual, but I'm thinking if we can link it in somehow to one of the Dublin Comic-Cons. I was thinking this year it's probably going to be too late, but at least I think I have to re-engage with looking at dates, venues, and so on, so I can give enough time to all our lovely fellow defenders in case they do want to come and join us. Because otherwise it is a little sporadic. We are meeting a good friend of ours who listens to the podcast, who we know from our Gotham days very soon in June, which will be exciting.
That's so cool, really
coming all the way from Portugal. So can't wait to reminisce. Back in the day, we spent a long weekend at a Comic-Con in Blackpool, which was very eventful and very, very memorable. Possibly for all the wrong as well as the right reasons.
Absolutely.
But, Derek, with that, let us get into our spoiler-filled review of episode 5 of Spider-Noir, Betrayal.
Yes, of course, the showrunner for the show is Oren Uziel. The director of this episode is Alethea Jones, who's directed absolutely loads of TV, including the comedy drama High Potential with Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and she directed 2 episodes of the 2nd season of DC's Peacemaker as well.
Excellent.
So has done some great comic book shows as well. The episode was written by Jennifer Frazin and Steve Lightfoot. Jennifer Frazin is a staff writer on the show with various credits over the last few years, but this is her big credit that she's gotten working on the show here. Yeah.
Good. You pronounce it like Esther Ranson.
Yes, Jessica Franson, Esther Ranson, I guess they rhyme in my mind, I guess.
Indeed, yes.
So, John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for Spider-Noir episode 5?
Sure. After Cat Hardy learns that Ben Reilly is the Spider, he takes her on a proper date to Millie's diner. Ben reveals that he got his powers 15 years earlier during the final days of World War I. After discovering German experiments on POWs he was liberating, he was bitten by a mutated half-spider prisoner. From that day on, Ben had arachnid DNA. Armed with an unmissable exclusive story about the Spider's battle with the electric-powered Dirk Layden, Robbie Robertson reclaims his job at the Daily Bugle. He and Janet discover every metahuman had been treated by the same physician, Dr. Alethea Faber, before developing powers. While Robbie interrogates Dr. Faber and her secretary Ogden, the Spider steals medical files, proving Faber tried to cure the metahumans, but instead aggravated their conditions. And now they will all die if they keep using their powers. Meanwhile, Flint Marko, now Silvermane's right-hand man, recruits Lonnie Lincoln, and together they free Dirk Layden from prison to join them. Now armed with his super-powered muscle men, Silvermane warns Ben to keep the Spider out of this conflict with Mayor Morris. Worried for their lives, Ben asks Kat to leave the city with him, and she agrees. But her former partner, Flint Marko, confronts her over hiring the fire-powered Addison to kill Silvermane without telling him. Lincoln informs Kat that Faber believes seeing the Spider could help her find a cure, leading Kat to reveal Ben's secret to Dr. Faber and her secretary, Ogden. Bad cat.
Bad cat.
Naughty
Bad
cat.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Great cliffhanger. Loved it. I loved this episode. I felt it just had everything about it. And I think we talk about episodes having cliffhangers. I think there's been 2 really good ones in this so far with the episodes that we've covered, and this I think just really good. It is the femme fatale betraying the one she's just literally committed to running away with.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I love you. I believe in you. Tell me all your secrets. I'm also going to share all your secrets with somebody else to save the other person that I loved. I love it. It's so intriguing. It's so interesting. Absolutely loved the twists and turns in this episode. It's really, really good. And I will say this is the first episode of the 5 we've seen so far that I enjoyed watching in color even more than I enjoyed watching in black and white. The style of all of the characters was so interesting to watch on screen. It's something that you kind of forget. You know, you're talking about the 1930s. You know, we've seen loads of photographs that have been touched up, and the colors have been added to them from the black and white that we would have seen at the time. But it's so interesting seeing all these people wearing these what you'd probably consider quite garish clothing now. But it's so interesting seeing them all in these big, colourful outfits back in the day. Like it opens with just that great moment of the two women walking across the street as Kat and Ben go into the diner for their date, and it all just seems so much more colourful and so much more bright than we're led to believe it is when we watch things in black and white, you know?
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really interesting how your view of the time is basically completed by it being black and white, which makes it so much more dreary in a sense.
And it's probably because we're all told that that's the Depression era, so black and white makes total sense for everything around them, but everybody's using every colour in the playbook to
absolutely
to dress themselves.
Yeah, so it's a really nice contrast to go between the black and white and the colour, for sure. Yeah.
This episode, definitely colour is the way to go, I think. But let's get into our web shots as we break down our episode into the 5 major web shots that we have to talk about. Our web shot 1 is the origin story. I love this because the first introduction we ever had in the cinematic universe of Spider-Noir was in Across the Spider-Verse, where all of the characters had to have their intro story, and finally we see the origin story of this Ben Reilly in this universe, where he sits down with Kat and tells her all about how he got his powers. Yes,
I think this origin story really nice and timely for effectively the middle episode. Really, I just really enjoyed it. You know, we've kind of gotten snippets of it before. We've gotten the hint with the photograph. I like the fact that we see the photograph being taken post everything that's gone on in this German base or compound, where the prisoners are not only being held but they're being tested on. And you see Ben Reilly going deep into this complex with other soldiers as they find this room effectively where it's just kind of really of its day. It's really, I like the design of this, that they're hooked up effectively to a jar with the insect or the thing in the jar, and it somehow is going into the bloodstream. So, I mean, we do see a praying mantis, we see an eel, we see a snake, and so on, and we come to the spider where, you know, the particular subject here is way more advanced. I mean, unless there's anything going on under the bed sheets with the praying mantis one or the snake one, who knows? But
that reveal when Ben pulls back the bed sheets and sees that this
we've got the thorax of the spider, the face, like half human, half spider with the multiple eyes, and really, really cool sort of design and look here.
Like this is straight from Man Spider in the comic books. Man Spider was basically when Peter Parker went to Savage Land, he was de-evolved into this version of himself where he was more spider than man, and that's what they've represented here on screen. This character that just is a spider but also a human. I love it. Oh, so cool.
I mean, certainly, like, whatever they've been doing down there, this patient is way more developed or evolved than the others, by the looks of it. to that point, you have the interesting conversation back in Millie's diner after the flashback is finished, where Ben Reilly is saying to Kat, well, I had to relearn how to be human.
Yes.
I had to go to the movies and suppress these arachnid genes that kind of were there. So, and I mean, he actually even says he took the case so that he could learn if his powers could be taken away and he could be just Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
So this has been, a schism for him. It's been a real big point in his life. And I do like the fact that we see this flashback here. We do see Flint Marko and Addison here in the cells. We see Lonnie Lincoln at the photo, so back in the square once they've been released with the photo being taken. We also see that, Man Spider, or the Spider Patient here, he's in the opening credits as well.
He is.
And so able to piece all these things together. I do like as well that they call it was a German failed super soldier program. So it's almost in essence trying to sort of foretell what happens in Captain America as well.
Yeah, I wonder is the research used here is what's used to create the super soldier for the Americans back in the 40s. Yeah.
Well, maybe because you do, there is the army there. It's part of the army, so let's. Who knows what's in that serum. But it's just a really nice origin story that comes out here, all set in the backdrop of effectively Ben Reilly taking Kat out to the diner. He tells Kat that, well, my story. And she's like, well, tell it from the beginning. So this is where we go back. I do like the fact as well that the Millie's diner is very Nighthawks, that sort of famous Edward Hopper painting from the era.
Yeah.
To some degree it is. I think it's just the fact that it's a diner, but it's the whole noir feel to it, which is what Edward Hopper invokes with the Nighthawks painting. So
I can see that.
It's just I think this is a really good opening, and it's great to get the origin story.
Absolutely. And the big difference that we hear with Ben is that he was powered from that moment onwards, right? We only heard that the other characters were powered from the last 6 months or so, but 15 years ago, Ben Reilly was the Spider. From that moment onwards, he's had these powers, which is quite cool. Yeah,
absolutely. Shall we get into our web shot number 2?
Absolutely. Back at the Bugle. Oh, really, really enjoyed, and it's mostly just a scene, but really enjoyed Robbie Robertson in this episode. He just is getting his confidence right back. I love it. It's like Robbie gets his groove back in this episode. For the last couple of episodes, we've seen him, eating ketchup sandwiches as his dinner. We've don't that. It's a ketchup sandwich, John. You need something on it. You were the one that was saying it was awful. I was like, it's just a sausage sandwich or a bacon sandwich without ketchup.
Yeah, no, my wasn't a it was a
Yeah, what's that about? It was
the emphasis on the
on the other syllable. Yes, but he is back selling a story that nobody else could possibly sell to the Bugle. He's got all the information. He's got amazing photographs to sell to the Bugle, and he's allowed to, or he wants to at least, sell it with conditions. The conditions are that he gets his desk back in the Bugle, and they print a retraction on the previous story.
Well, that's one of his other conditions. Yeah,
that the story about the monsters out in New York City gets retracted, and that they are that the story that he had originally written about the police coming in to attack a downtrodden area in New York gets reprinted in some way, or gets corrected in some way closer to what he'd originally written.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a really great little moment here. I like the fact he has the Starman is what Dirk Layden is called, the electric powered man. We know him to be Megawatt ultimately, but the other one that they call here is we call him the Conductor. And so it all just like they have this discussion. But I like that Robbie Robertson, gets Well, he demands what is rightfully his,
Absolutely.
which is, I wrote the story and you didn't do it right, so I want that retraction. I've got this great story here for you now. If you don't want it, I can go to the competitor papers. But if you do want it, well, then I also want my desk back. And I do like the fact that in the end, he's got his desk, he's putting his nameplate there, and he looks up from the desk, all these just white faces looking back at him, and he's there and he goes, it's good to be back.
Good to be back.
I think you said it as well when we were watching it, and I totally agree. You know, there does seem to be this sort of channeling of Eddie Murphy or Pryor, you know, one of those great comedians. It just like he doesn't seem to be bothered with all these eyes looking at him, and
he knows
like,
he deserves his place right there, and he doesn't give a shit about what other people think about whether he should be there or not. I absolutely love it. It's just a great moment from Robbie where, as you say, he's just setting up his desk, looking up, and he's like, "Yeah, great to be back. I don't care that all these people are looking down at me. I'm looking down on them because of the amazing story I've delivered, and I'm going to deliver 100 more of those types of stories, and you guys will be scrabbling around in the dirt looking for the stories." That's what Robbie brings, right? He's the guy that will go out and find amazing stories for this newspaper. That's why he's been given these concessions from the editor of the paper. But yeah, I love when the editor christens the electric superhero as the conductor and goes, you know, because he was like working on the trains. And Robbie just looks back at him and goes, comprehension wasn't the reason for my pause there. Just great little moment, Robbie.
Really good.
Oh, great to have him back at the Bugle, where he belongs. Absolutely love it. Let's move on to our third web shot, John. Ooh, the person that's been treating all of the soups in New York is Dr. Faber. And interestingly, what we find out is that she knew exactly who the soups were. She connected them all, and she invited them all to participate in her trials, in her investigations. They were all people that were in France at the same time. They were all rescued from this POW camp, but she reached out to all of them, which makes sense when you think about that none of them had any superpowers before 6 months ago. That the reason why they've all been brought together over the last couple of years is because of Dr. Faber reaching out to them. Yeah,
absolutely. I like how we get introduced to Dr. Faber here. You know, we have this conversation back at Ben Reilly's office. You know, why did Flint, Lonnie, and so on all get their powers now? And they're connecting it to this geneticist, Dr. Faber. But as you say, that as Robbie kind of comes in, is that, well, she sought them out, knew about the German camp.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of sets up this sort of like two-pronged attack to sort of, for Robbie to visit the hospital whilst, Ben Reilly goes in via the skylight and the window of it to get into the office. One of the interesting things is her assistant, Ogden, recognizes Ben Reilly ultimately, because he does get caught there. I mean, there's a great exchange, and it's really nice and intense, and it's cutting between Robbie, speaking with Ogden and Dr. Faber, about the 4 patients that she's been seeing have had superpowers. She's kind of like, well, I see loads of patients, and it's like, well, I think you would have known about these. You know, did you help these men? The powers only seem to have started after seeing you. So he's laying it out on the line here. And I love the fact that Robbie strikes a nerve here. At the same time, Ben is rifling through her filing cabinets to try and get the relevant files, finds this little secret section of the drawer to get out the the files, but they're coming back already. He hears them, he gets caught, but I love how he covers it as one of the patients. Fun. And he's like, well, I'm here to see Dr. Collins. And he just keeps repeating, the second floor, the second floor, the second floor.
So good.
But we have Ben recognize Ben Reilly as he said, as the person who rescued them from the camp. Nonetheless, Ben has already made his escape in that sense, has got the files out of there. But I like just how this plays out. It's nice and tense. It's nice and revealing with the information. And I like how Robbie strikes a nerve. It sounds as though Ben Reilly has caught a nerve and just can't stop repeating the second floor.
So good. But again,
really good.
This is how you use Nicolas Cage. Like, I know he's a great actor, and I know he has some amazing moments and amazing movies. He knows what he's good at as well. But I don't think he's always good at it. So finding a director to be able to channel him into something that's really interesting, and finding an editor to find the bits that are really fun about what he does and what he delivers for a character is so important when you're using Nicolas Cage. So here, seeing him go absolutely mental, doing, I think, a little bit of the Three Stooges when he has his hand over his forehead.
Yeah.
It seems like he's doing a little bit of Moe, when he's trying to work out which doctor he's supposed to be at. And I love that Dr. Faber sounds like she sees this every couple of days. Someone arrives in her office who's supposed to be downstairs on a different floor looking for a different doctor. It just sounds like, okay, maybe he's chosen the right way to play off why he's in the room. But yeah, so he gets all the files and he hangs them out the window using his webbing. My God, that weapon looks so difficult to get access to when they're running away, and Robbie's downstairs and Ben's downstairs and they're trying to get the files out of the webbing that he's created. It looks so difficult. It looks just massively gluey, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a really good visual, I think. And
then as they remove the files, it raises up just before Ogden arrives, and it just has disappeared. And Ogden wouldn't look up.
No, well, at this stage, they don't know that Ben Reilly is the spider, so why would he look up? He, as far as he's concerned, he's just chasing after two people that have just effectively, one has distracted them, one has broken into the office of his employer. So, it's a really nice moment, I think, here.
Yeah.
Gives you a little insight into Dr. Faber and her assistant Ogden.
And she just seems so angry when Robbie has suggested that she's the cause of the powers coming out in the patients as well. That's the big thing for me.
Yeah. I love that. I love the twisting of the knife. Yeah, absolutely. But should we get on to our web shot number 4?
Absolutely.
Yes, I guess it's the supervillain team that is coalescing, dare I say it, around Silvermane.
Very much.
We have Flint Marko, really, who has gone hook, line, and sinker back to Silvermane, and it's taken Silvermane, in a sense, has taken Flint back into the fold. Yeah, new suits, all this, and
I love that moment when Flint goes to meet Lonnie, who's still wearing the same clothes he's been wearing for a few days, and he looks at Flint and he's like, "Wow, okay, you are back with the boss." And again, another commentary on the times. Basically, we see Robbie fighting his way up to being the greatest reporter of his time, looking for the first black person to get a Pulitzer, and you see Lonnie on the other side looking at Flint, who has joined up with another white guy in New York, and Lonnie's going, "Look, I'm not going to do another white guy's bidding. I'm not going to be the person that is losing himself to be an enforcer for another white criminal," and Flint's going, "It's not like that. That's not how Silvermane treats his staff. That's not how Silvermane's treated me. You will be welcome with open arms. You will be one of the upper echelon of his team," which I really, really like. I love that Silvermane has decided to surround himself with everybody that's superpower that he can find in New York. He will bring them on board. All these people who are downtrodden, if they have superpowers, come on board. Join the Silvermane super villain team.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, get on the payroll.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's sending Flint to do that with Lonnie. Like you say, I think Lonnie's response, and I think this is what's really interesting. It's just a nice little counterpoint to Flint. You know, Flint has gone back into the arms of Silvermane quite quickly, quite easily. Despite, and again, what happens at the Avalon Club and his conversations with Kat here, in this episode. But Lonnie's view is, well, I don't want to work for Silvermane. I don't want to do another white man's bidding or work. But he's also, he clarifies that to Flint. I'm not a criminal. He knows that Silvermane is a criminal. However, we do see Lonnie later that Flint has clearly persuaded Lonnie to join Silvermane. He's now in a new outfit. He's looking brand new and so on. And he's there at the club at the Avalon Club. As Kat and Silvermane are there having this talk, about the slippery spider, from the new, he's got the newspaper and there's a picture of the spider with the mare. And at the same time, there's this modern music quote, that's playing in the background, which Silvermane doesn't quite like.
Bloody jazz.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, Flint comes in, to Kat's surprise, but she hides it well. Lonnie has joined the band, so to speak. But there's an interesting moment here because it's just all very kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, knowing looks and tells and what have you. But what I found most intriguing about this was as Silvermane is effectively saying, look, Kat, make yourself scarce, really, because the boys have got to speak here business, so this is the classic, we're going to the cigar room. It's really interesting, isn't it? It's like, go off and powder your nose. Exactly. But as she leaves, he's like, oh, whilst you're at it, you could look into maybe a new band rather than this one that you've got. But also, you could look for a new singer, one that's younger and beautiful, suggesting that potentially her shelf life is coming to an abrupt end here. This is right in front of Flint, right in front of Lonnie as he says it. Maybe it is to get some kind of reaction. Oh, from Flint, possibly, because I think Silvermane is more cute than he's possibly making out here. And then later, I do love the phrase that he used to describe her. It's a very a phrase I've heard very, very often, that she's full of piss and vinegar. Today. Really like that. It's like, when you find a person like that, you need to cut them down to size, right? That is very much Silvermane's attitude here with her. Absolutely. And then the other member of the super villain team, I should say, that kind of gets recruited is Dirk Layden, the actor, who has been interrogated at the police station there. To be honest, I think he sounds very like the Penguin, just the way he is talking. I know what you mean. And you have Flint and Lonnie arriving to effectively break him out of prison. When he sees them, he's like, "Hello, fellas." You clearly see he was also a prisoner of war. It's just a nice little interaction here. One, because firstly, you realize Layden is a bit of a loose cannon. He's mental. Yes. Yeah. So I love that Silvermane says, after a huge kind of theatrical kind of speech from Dirk Layden towards him, he says, "You like to talk, don't you? Now now you can listen. You know,
I love it, and
it's so good.
It's the lines from Dirk. He's quoting Shakespeare throughout the fighting, and then when he's told to listen, he's like, I'm like a Nebraskan cornfield, and Silvermane's like, oh, what the hell does this mean? I'm all ears. Hilarious. Really, really like it.
We have an interesting moment where Layden takes his revenge on the guy who's been beating him up by giving him an electric kiss. Yeah. I like that Silvermane just like, well, that was weird as they walk out. But effectively you have Dirk Layden here being brought into this supervillain team.
Absolutely.
So we have Flint, Dirk and Lonnie here.
Yeah, and his dedication is, I have but one life. Oh, I wish I could give you more, but I will take plenty, is his dedication to working for Silvermane. I absolutely love it. Really, really cool. And very quickly, Silvermane uses this team to intimidate a little bit. He invites Ben Reilly over to his house and tells him, you know, your mate the Spider, we need to get on side here. This is my team that are going up against Mayor Morris for control of the city, and it would be really good of the Spider to step out of this one. Even though he doesn't specifically know that Ben Reilly is the Spider, he's telling him to tell his mate, the Spider, to step out of this one. He doesn't belong in this argument between Silvermane and Mayor Morris, right? Yeah. A really interesting moment. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think the other interesting moments here is you have Ben Reilly clearly going after Dirk Layden here, trying to rile him up. You see Dirk clicking his flame on from the electricity.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have Silvermane saying, calm down. But equally, Flint and Lonnie are there, and Flint confronts Ben, knowing that he covered Kat through Winston under the bus, basically. He says, look, you have one pass because you saved her. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Ben Reilly leaves him with something to think on. You know, a hot dog at the game is better than a roast at the Ritz. I'm not entirely sure how this plays out or what it means.
Is it better to have one hot dog at a massive stadium of people that are there to watch their team play sports? Is that what it is? Or go to the Ritz for a roast beef? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's something to do. It depends on the company you keep, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that.
That'd be good. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're here having roast dinner at the Ritz. It's all refined and fine because Silvermane is paying for it. But actually, you're a person who has the hot dog at the baseball game or the footy game, whatever it might, with your team, with your mates. Isn't that more, you know, your camaraderie almost with your other soldiers from the POW? So
could be that.
I guess he's going at it in that way. But as a result of all that, you have then Ben going to Kat to warn her about Flint.
That's right. Yeah. And that takes us on to our final web shot, I think. Oh, Kat turns again is our final web shot for this episode because, well, she's got loads of information that she didn't have before this episode.
Absolutely. She is the Femme Fatale. Loose lips, sink ships.
She's a Femme Fatale. Yes. First off, we have all the conversations that were going on with Silvermane telling her that she may not be able to keep her job even though she owns the club. You know, that's the first kind of sign that she's on shaky ground here. But yes, also we have Ben telling her or asking her to run away with him to Santorini, the black sanded place that she wanted to go to. He's telling her we could run away together. We could live a good life. He's willing to give up absolutely everything for her. I love how that also plays out throughout the episode. You know, Ben has been on his own since his possible fiance Ruby passed away 5 years ago. He's been down in the dumps, and everybody else that knows him, Robbie and Janet, are going, yes, you absolutely should pursue this. There's no problem. Go find the person that you love. But I do find it interesting, as we say, you know, the setup here for Kat is that she is the femme fatale of the show. I find it really interesting that in the first episode, the introduction of Kat was him seeing this drunken schlub guy and looking at him going, well, either he has a lot of money, or he's possessed of a great sense of humor, or he's absolutely not the husband of this character. And here we are, 5 episodes into the show, where Ben's asking Kat to run away with him for the rest of his life, and all his friends are going, yeah, you should do it. You should absolutely do it. You'll never find a better chance than this. Is Ben possessed of a huge amount of money or a great personality? I don't know yet.
No, likewise.
It feels really early in the relationship for him to give up everything and run away.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. I think what's interesting, though, is not only does Ben kind of pour it out to Kat, saying, I'm willing to take a chance. Yeah. I want to stop chasing ghosts around, his own wife, and also to Kat around Flint. He's effectively saying, look, Flint is gone, because he tells her that he is dying from the experiments that he was subject to, and that despite everything, Dr. Faber has accelerated his condition, and each time he uses it, it's another step closer to being 6 feet under, effectively. So he tells her this, and as a result of that, this is on her mind when Lonnie goes to Kat to say, you need to come and speak with Flint. And you see Flint pushing out bullets from under his skin, which is quite a nice little touch.
Such a cool,
real nice touch.
Yeah, really like
and you have this, in a sense, breakup, because Kat is saying, well, I went behind your back trying to kill Silvermane because I knew you wouldn't be able to, because you're loyal to him to a fault. But he retorts to her to say, I would have killed him myself for you. She doesn't think that he would have done, and she's told him that. So in this moment, he's like, again, betrayed. They have that nice moment where he slams one of the supporting beams, and it's Lonnie who catches it to stop it from falling on Kat.
Absolutely would have been dead in that moment.
But all of this plays into how the Femme Fatale becomes fatal in this moment for Ben Reilly. Because you have Lonnie saying, this Dr. Faber, the only thing to help is the spider, because that she thinks that the mutation is different, but she has no idea who he is or where to find him.
Yes.
And
the person he's talking to knows all of it.
Yeah. So in the moment, as Faber and Ogden are fleeing their office because they feel they've been found out by Robbie and his sleuthing. I do like the fact that, as well, just slightly earlier, we have Robbie giving Ben a day before he publishes the story, because he goes, I'm not losing it. I've got to make a living.
Absolutely.
But
that's a massive story too. Yeah.
Kat immediately tells them that the spider is Ben Reilly, and close credits. And it's great. It's a really good cliffhanger.
Yes, it is.
I like how this, these emotional twists and turns sort of progress through the story. You go from effectively Ben pouring his heart out to Kat. Kat has done that previously. It's let's go away, run away together, to the old flame, ultimately still being an important part of Kat's story. And it moving towards, revealing everything that Ben doesn't want people to know about him. So I thought this was really good. I really liked it. I liked that the Femme Fatale became fatal.
Absolutely. As she always will.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Always will. Really, really cool. Really loved this idea, and you're still kind of questioning again 5 episodes in, who is Kat and who's she really dedicated to? Is she would she have run away with Flint Marko if he hadn't got the powers? Could she run away with him now if the powers were taken away from him and he became Flint Marko again? Or does she really love Ben Reilly, who's telling her, well, Flint Marko's dead anyway, you might as well run away with me, which is a very different proposition than I'm in love with you, we should spend the rest of our life together. So, love this twist in the story once again.
Exactly. But there's also part of me like thinking, is she being set up here by Lonnie? Because it's just the way he delivers it. Or not just Lonnie, but Silvermane.
Mm-hmm.
It's even just Reilly at Silvermane's where, Silvermane's there going, well, I'm telling you to warn the Spider. My fight is with Morris, so you need to stay out of it in your own best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is he doing this because he knows possibly that Ben is the Spider already? And I don't know for sure. I'm not entirely convinced that's the case, but it's just the way, Lonnie absolutely tees up Cat here to say, well, he's dying. His condition's getting worse. The only thing that can help is the Spider, because Dr. Faber thinks or believes that the mutation is different. But she doesn't know who he is or where he is.
Yeah.
But how does she know that the mutation is basically it's a working theory of Dr. Faber that somehow Lonnie is doing. I don't know, but there's also, I'm like going, wouldn't it be nice if this was also kind of, entrapment effectively for them in some way?
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't think it is. But I'm just wondering.
I think the big thing that we learned in this episode is that the Spider has been around for 15 years, and all the rest of these kids who were POWs during World War One, they've only got their powers in the last 6 months, and they're going to be killed by these powers if they don't.
Well, that's true.
If they don't find the person that can stabilize them. So the big difference with the Spider is he seems to have been stabilized by whatever was the difference. We saw it in the flashback. I think the big difference is that he was bitten. He wasn't experimented on. He was bitten by somebody who had the powers. So
it wasn't intravenously dripped with the essence of air, I guess, because I don't quite know how that works.
The essence of Spider, the surrounding of Spider.
Yeah. So, I mean, agreed. I think it's just the way Lonnie said it. I'm like, it feels too deliberate.
Right.
But that might just be the detective noir thing, but I'm also thinking, I know it's a detective noir and I'm loving it, but maybe the twist on the whole thing is that actually they're also being played.
Yeah.
Because Silvermane is that well connected.
Right, maybe. Yeah. What an interesting idea. But John, I am like a Nebraskan cornfield. I am all ears for whether you defend this episode. Do you defend the Spider-Noir episode 5?
I really, really do. I'd give this 5 electrifying snogs out of 5.
Interesting.
I absolutely love this episode from start to finish. I think the opening in Millie's diner through to the massive betrayal of Kat to Ben Reilly and that cliffhanger was just really, really good. I loved the flashback. I loved seeing that. I loved how Dr. Faber and her assistant were incorporated into the story with Robbie and Janet and finding more out about this team that it's now forming, whether it's with Flint, and Lonnie, Addison, all the POW stuff. I love sort of the incessant sort of intrigue with Silvermane, as for me, actually is, he seems to know more than he's letting on. And I'm like, is this just part of it? Is he teeing people up? Is he that kind of, well connected because he's such a powerful person?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, if he is saying, well, I run this city, who's to say he's not,
Well, yeah.
He's taking on the mayor for that.
Or does Brendan Gleeson always come across as really, really knowledgeable?
It might also be that. I love all the tit for tat between Reilly and Flint, between Reilly and Silvermane. Layden was great to see, just seeing how unhinged he was.
So good. That scene where Ben is attacking Layden, where he's like, "Oh, have you been on the stage? Have you been on the stage in the West End, or did you just drive underneath as a driver?" Where he's attacking him because Ben's so angry that he put this guy behind bars the previous day, but can't tell anybody else because that would reveal he's the Spider. It's all there on screen, but it's so well delivered by Nicolas Cage. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
So for me, this episode had everything. So 5 electrifying snogs out of 5.
Fantastic.
Derek, do you defend this episode of Spider-Noir?
Yeah, much like yourself, absolutely loved this episode. I thought it really progressed the story really well. Revealed the Femme Fatale for what she is, a Femme Fatale willing to protect her former lover by throwing her new lover under the bus. I felt really sorry for poor Ben. He's about to give up his entire life with the support of all of his friends who are all on his side to run away and, maybe work in a bar, potentially. They're all behind him and really behind the scenes. His new girlfriend is about to throw him under the bus for his old girlfriend, but that's part of the story, though, isn't it? In a noir tale. So all really, really enjoyable. I can't wait to see what we get in the next episode of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really good.
Great stuff. Shall we get into our feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear from our wonderful fellow defenders. First up, we got an email in from Coffee and Vodka.
Yes, Coffee and Vodka says, greeting fellow Dane-duped defenders. With half of the Sinister Six gathered and origin story revealed in the most Sony way possible, the series begins to show a crack or two. Nick, however, smooths them over quite effectively. Nothing quite like seeing a 62-year-old huff through a firefight. Not so much bulletproof as bullet done with it all. And his diner scene gave us a small taste of the maniac. So happy camper me. Also, loving the nod to the classic cinema from Below the Sea last episode to Freaks in this one. There's nothing subtle here, just over-the-top villains, conflicted hero, typically tragic love triangle, and all the era's stereotypes under a single roof. Finally nice to see Robbie get a win.
Definitely.
4 timely tombstones, fleeing physicians, and caffeinated facials out of 5. Peace and take care. Coffee and Vodka.
Fantastic Coffee and Vodka. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just the tropes from the era are ever present here. I love the thing that Ben mentions about how he got back to being himself is by watching movies. So that's another little way in as to why they're using specific movie tropes. My description in my notes of the battle of liberating the small town in eastern France was explosions, Wilhelm scream, Scheisse, and shadows. And all of those are perfect tropes to show off the battle. That's it. That's there. I really like that.
To be honest, I actually think Scheisse was my first swear word that I actually learned just purely from comic books because it was always in there.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of the comic was, but it
was Sergeant Fury.
It was Sergeant Fury. It absolutely was, and that's why I kind of like when we met, I was like, well, I know Sergeant Fury, but it was like a compilation comic of having Marvel stuff in there, and there was probably some other more British comic strips as well, but it was just there was always Scheisse, and it was like, okay,
what's that mean?
That was my first swear word ever.
I love it. Thank you so much, Coffee and Vodka, for your thoughts. We'll move on to Discord. I didn't mention this earlier on, so I'm leaving it to Joe Herbst to say why I was so excited for one of the background characters. Joe Herbst says, great to see Andrew Robinson in this. Most of us know him best as Garak in Deep Space Nine, though I remember I first saw him as the villain in the original Dirty Harry movie. Not my favorite episode, though. We didn't learn that many things. If the spider had disappeared for years, I could see the mutant soldiers despairing at not being able to get his help in finding a cure for their bizarre afflictions, but now he's appeared again, most notably to face off against one of their own. So it seems like they might have tried to find a way to get his attention long enough to ask for his help, especially since they just saw Silvermane ask Ben to give a message to the spider. Thanks for that, Joe. That's a really interesting point that you make. Lonnie telling Kat, well, the whole world is done. We are over. We're all going to die soon because we can't find Spider. Yet they're all in a room with Silvermane who's going, Ben Reilly, you tell Spider to stay out of this one. Maybe they should probably turn up to Ben Reilly's office and go, Ben Reilly, could you also ask Spider to come over and give us a DNA sample so that we can be cured and maybe not die?
No, there's a lot of truth in that from Joe. Yeah. I will still stand by my 5 electrifying snogs though, because yes, agreed. They could quite easily have done the normal thing and just asked.
Yeah.
But where's the fun in that showdown? I guess is what the showrunners are thinking. But I do absolutely get your point there.
Yeah, absolutely. But Joe also makes a great point about the performance of Andrew Robinson in this, who plays Ogden, the son of Dr. Faber. Andrew Robinson, honestly, I know he was Garak in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, one of my favorite characters in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but he also was such a central character in Hellraiser, another of my absolute favorite movies of all time. We had the writer of Hellraiser working on Good Omens recently. We had the main female actress of Hellraiser in Sandman recently, and now we have Andrew Robinson back, and now in the Marvel universe. Hellraiser fans like me are eating good at the moment.
What sights to show.
We have such sights to show you. Yes. I absolutely love seeing all these characters here. So yeah, really excited to see Andrew Robinson. He was so fantastic as Garak in Star Trek.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Such a great
love
character.
Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space as well.
Of course you do.
Love all science fiction.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Dr. Bob says, crikey, shades of the boys with the bayonets, grenades, and intimately familiar spider as the origin of the spider. Maglectro is a cracking addition to the array of outfielders with all the showboating you'd expect of a Joker, and I loved the palliative stoneball extrusions. Tiny things, but I really loved the on-high shot of Flint getting out of the taxi. The shadows of the ordinary people telling their stories, then switch to the knee-high shooting of the nascent supervillain, and the I want to be alone, and the precursor to more kissy kiss with Kitsch perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely. Dr. Bob, I think there's just some really good directing and camera placements here across this, and I think it's interesting. You work, whether it's maybe the type of film stock that you use, such as like a Christopher Nolan using IMAX, or Super 8 stuff that's commonly talked about, or whether it's using in a different medium of some description, or like the use of black and white, because that notion of the shadow, like you say, as well, is just really, really well played within this black and white. And that's the interesting choice of it moving from black and white to color, and the choice. And you hear them talk about it as the showrunner, just say the whole intention was to do it black and white, to really go in for that film noir. And I think it just gives certain shots some real atmosphere, but at the same time you then see it in the color as well. So I really enjoyed as you say, some of just the shots here. Really, really well done.
Absolutely. This episode particularly, I would choose to go color for this one. I think it was absolutely beautifully shot in color. I don't know why. I think it's because there's so much time spent in the prison, and the prison in black and white felt flat. To me, it felt like they were on a set, whereas in color it felt it didn't stand out as much. But the rest of the episode looked beautiful. So really, really good. Thanks so much, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bob.
Moving on to Facebook for our final piece of feedback, we got some thoughts in from Drew Wally on our earlier podcast. He said, I'm really enjoying this series and have recommended it to some of my friends. Can't wait to hear your thoughts too. I was tempted to binge away the original black and white. When I heard you lads were going to be covering it, I took a pause after episode 3. Now that I've watched 3 episodes of black and white, I've enjoyed going back to rewatching colour after your commentary. Plan to continue this way through the season. Quick notes from your episode 3 podcast. I first would have guessed James Cagney, but from a search on my end, I believe Nick Cage was going for Edward G. Robinson impression from his hospital interrogation. On rewatch, caught him even referring to Edward G. When he was giving Frankie instructions for standing in as him while he was at the cash grab. And yes, Green Spot would have been around in 1933. Cheers, guys, from Drew. Fantastic, Drew. Thank you so much for clearing that up. Yeah, Edward G. Robinson is exactly the person I was thinking of from the, you're standing over there, see? That's very much the thought I was going for. So thank you so much for clarifying that. We talked about the green spot piece on last week's episode, or on last time's episode, where we knew it was, we know now it was around from the 1800s and muddled its way through Prohibition era America.
We didn't get a red spot in this episode like I thought we might do. Yeah. So it might be later on in the episodes. Yeah. Who knows? In fact, I probably won't be, but who knows?
Yeah. In fact, we didn't do a whiskey watch for this episode. I don't remember any specific whiskey moments in this episode. There was a pie moment, but I don't remember a whiskey moment in this episode.
That's my kind of moment. As a proud Northerner, do like a good pie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Drew, though, clarifying a couple of great points for us. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy watching it in colour again as you go through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great choice just to have a look at it. I mean, even just that pop of colour when you first look at it. I think Robbie Robertson and his outfits are just a revelation. So good, and I think for this one, it was the blue of Silvermane's coat, actually. You just see it as this black, or dark grey. Yeah. And yet it's this kind of royal blue. It's really beautiful. Interesting.
Yeah, really, really cool. Thank you so much. And thank you all for all your feedback. Keep sending it into us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com or pop on over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/tvpodcastindustries, or you can share your thoughts over on our Discord. Details are here in this very episode. Thanks for following along with us for Spider-Noir. Loads of other podcasts out there. If you've been enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe to us at tvpodcastindustries.com. Or, of course, we would love if you would share the podcast, because sharing the podcast is
sharing the love.
Indeed. Yeah, we'll be back next week with our chat all about Spider-Noir episode 6.
Yes, we would love to get your thoughts on that episode as well. But until then, fellow defenders, keep watching, keep listening, and of course, keep defending. Bye.
Bye.
Did you say pie?
Pie.
Pie.
Bye.
Bye.